Thank you. They say 1 out of every 4 people has a psychological problem. You believe that? 1 out of every 4. I guess that means if you look around at the 3 closest people to you right now, and if they're okay, that means you're the one. In over 11,000 hours as a counseling psychologist in clinical time, in over 11,000 hours with people, I've come to a profoundly different role. In over 11,000 hours of sitting down with individuals, couples, families, and children, I've come to the conclusion that there are 2 kinds of people in the world. People with issues, and people who, may they rest in peace, are no longer with us. So while I welcome all of you incoming students, what I'm about to say over the next 10 minutes is for anyone and everyone who is willing to listen. Little girl goes to see her mom, and she says, "Hey, Mommy, how come you cut the ends off the roast beef?" And the mom says, "I don't know, honey, I just do it because my mom always did it. Why don't you go ask Grandma?" So the little girl goes to Grandma, and she says, "Hey, Grandma, how come you cut the ends off the roast beef?" And Grandma says, "You know, honey, I don't know. I just do it because my mom always did it. Why don't you go ask Great-Grandma?" So the little girl goes up to her Great-Grandma, and she says, "Hey, Great-Grandma, how come you cut the ends off your roast beef?" And the Great-Grandma says, "Well, that's simple, honey. When I was growing up, we only had 1 pot, and it was really small, so we had to cut the ends off the roast beef." Generation after generation of people pass things on, and we don't even question why we do what we do. Generation after generation brings it on, and we just take it on, and we don't even question it. Well, let's question it. Why are we here today? We're here, all of us, today because of education. But what is education? It stems from the root ducere, which is to lead, and the prefix ex, or ed, which is out, to lead out. To lead out of what? Proverbial darkness? Let's take a look at the word teacher. It comes from the Middle English, ta sen, which means a guidepost. Let's stretch that a little further to say that it's a light post. Let's say I lost my keys. I'm not going to walk up to a light post and stare at the light and hope to find my keys. The light is there to guide me, but I've got to do the work. You've got to do the work. That's what this is about, you doing the work. But there's something awesome inside of that. You have everything it takes inside of you to do this. But not just education. You have a whole lot more than just education inside of you. All the great spiritual teachings talk about the divinity within. The kingdom of heaven is within, the divine within. One time a guru was talking to his student, and he's teaching him about this. That God is in all living things. That you are God. And the student looks back at his guru and he's thinking, I am God? Now here's a teaching I can live with. So he's going out and he's meditating on this idea that I am God. And he's walking down the street thinking, I am God, I am God. And this elephant comes running madly down the way. And a man on top of the elephant is screaming, "Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Get out of the way!" And the man's thinking, I'm going to take in my guru's teachings. I am God. The elephant is God. Why should God get out of the way for God? So he stays the course. Elephant keeps charging at him. The man on top of the elephant gets a little louder. Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Get out of the way! The man says, I am God. The elephant puts his trunk around the student, picks him up, fires him onto the side of the road. So now the student on the side of the road is feeling humiliated, gets up, dusts himself off, goes back to see his guru. I don't understand this. You said I am God. His guru says, yes, but why didn't you listen to God telling you to get out of the way? It's easy to see the divine within when it's ourselves. That's the teaching that people pick up on in life. I am God. Wow, that's great. It's tougher to see the divinity or the divine within someone else, especially because there are 2 kinds of people in the world, and we're all struggling. But what if we could see that in others? A man goes to an angel and he says, show me the difference between heaven and hell. So the angel takes him to door number 1 and it says hell on it. So he goes through the door and he sees people sitting around a giant cauldron of soup. And all the people have spoons to reach the soup, but they're too long. And so all the people sit around, they're miserable, they're angry, they're starving, and that is hell. Man goes to the next door, and it says heaven. And he's surprised as he walks in because the room looks exactly the same as the other room. It's a giant cauldron of soup, spoons that are way too long. But in this room, all the people are laughing, having a good time. So he says to the angel, I don't understand it. This room is identical to the last room. What's the difference? And the angel says, in the second room, they've learned to feed each other. Do you feed other people? In New York State Hospital, a couple months ago, a woman fell to the ground. Was in convulsions, right there in the waiting room. People came in and out of the waiting room, read magazines, left. No one did anything to help her. No one did anything to help her. A man in his 60s was hit by a car in another city. On the ground, 40-some people just going by. Nobody stopped to help him. And what about this divine within? Was it not within these people? It was within these people. Because those people were you and me. What happens to people on a sociological perspective is something called bystander apathy. That is, we look by and we say, all these bystanders look like they don't care because they're not doing anything. What happens psychologically inside each person was something called diffusion of responsibility. That is, I think that if there are a lot of people around, someone else is going to do something. But we can't wait for someone else to do something. I've hurt people in my life, and I profoundly regret that. I've worked with countless people who have hurt other people, and they profoundly regret hurting other people. I've not included other people in my life at times, and I've regretted that. And I've known others who've done the same. But I have never regretted giving selflessly to someone else, nor do I ever know anyone who's regretted giving selflessly to someone else. And I don't mean the kind of giving that you give flowers or something to someone and you say, hey, you like it? Wasn't that the best you ever got? I'm not talking about that selfish kind of giving, the selfless giving. Because I believe that we do feed other people all the time. We feed other people with our energy. We have a concept in our field called the double bind message. As I said, this is all inside of you, so this story should resonate with you. It's kind of like a loved one coming up to you saying, you know I love you. In one sense, you're getting the message of, okay, the words are saying I love you, but the way it's coming across is looking like you want to bite off my head. You know people who've done this, and you've done this. Does what you say match how you say it? I'm compiling a book right now called My Gift to the World. And what it is I'm asking people from all over to send me stories. And so today were your last day on earth. What would you give the world? And to be honest with how tight this hat is on my head, squeezing the blood out of my head, I feel like today could be my last day, so I want you to really listen to what I have to say, because I'm going to give you my gift to the world. My gift would be this. Pay attention to the energy that you bring to and leave behind in situations. Pay attention to the energy you bring to and leave behind in situations. And if you are ambitious, then I would say this. If you don't like that energy that you're bringing to other people or leaving behind to other people, go ahead and change it. Because you can't wait until someone else changes the situation to make things better. And if you do that, and you reach out, and you pay attention to the energy that you bring to and leave behind in situations, then this campus will be something pretty special. Your workplaces can be awesome. Your homes can be incredible. And if enough of us decide to get together and do this, then our community could be pretty phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Conte.